Go
thing
ahead.
I one thing I always try to remind myself in all of this, you know, as much as and exciting as it is to kind of view and see things that are going on in the external world, nothing is more important than my lessons, my spiritual journey, what I'm going through. So each opportunity is just another chance to practice. So this patience bit, which has definitely been the main forefront of everything, is the most important thing to kind of just sit with and breathe and just trust and yeah, it's all going to work out, and it is all working out, and it's amazing.
Totally. Totally. Thanks for that, you guys. Hi, Jess. Does anybody want to do a little grounding meditation? How about
Yeah, I'd
that?
like to.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So I invite you, wherever you are seated, to just place your feet gently on the ground. Okay. And open your hands facing upward. Just softening your gaze. You can keep your eyes open or closed. It's your call. Okay. I'm going to close mine for now. And just taking a moment to feel your feet on the ground. And see if you can visualize at the base of your spine a grounding cord. And go ahead and drop that cord all the way down through the earth, through rock, oil, water, all the way down to the center, to the heart of the mother. And gently plugging in. And notice how the energy immediately starts to move down. Anything that's not yours, down the grounding cord. Trusting that divine mother energy to transmute and absorb and dissolve anything that's not yours. Any fear, any anxiety. I'm just trusting that process to go on automatic now. I'm requesting a beautiful strain that's perfect for each and every one of you, of earth energy, divine love, to move now up through the base of your feet, opening up your feet chakras, just like you would open up the lens of a camera, and allowing that beautiful energy, you might even see a color, to move up through your shins, through your knees, through your thighs, circling through your hips, and then back down the grounding cord, creating a circuit. Take a big breath here in through your nose. Let your belly get nice and big. And then exhale. Just signaling to your body, it's time to receive, to rest, to energize. Just allowing this process to go on automatic now. And visualizing yourself traveling way, way, way out. Meeting the Supreme Being. Hint of a smile on your face as you offer gratitude. Requesting the perfect blend of cosmic energy just for you. And bringing it all the way down to your crown. Letting your crown fill with this beautiful energy. Maybe it's gold or white or pink combination. Whatever it is, go ahead and allow it to come now through the top of your head, down your spine, down your wing bones, outside your shoulders, meeting again at the base of your spine and down the grounding cord. So blending this cosmic energy and earth energy, father energy, mother energy, inside you, the child. Allowing the process to go on automatic. I'm requesting now at the base of your spine that 90% of the cosmic and 10% of the mother of the earth blend here in your first energy center, and allowing that energy now, requesting it move up the front of your body through your first energy center into your second. And as it moves through the centers, it offers new information, releasing any stagnant energy, any residual energy down the cord. As you move into the heart, really expanding, allow that energy to fill in, to move out, into your throat. Good. Third eye, sixth center, really clearing out any cobwebs, any disillusion, any delusion, just out, filling with this new information. Up through your crown, and just imagine now this energy like a waterfall, moving out through the top of your head, through your aura, your field around you. Taking a moment now at the base of your neck to send about 15% of that energy down your arms, through your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, and up and out through your hands. Little waterfalls here, running the energy. If at any time you feel called to take a deep breath, go for it. Just a few more moments here. As you take a look at your aura, your energy field around you. I want to take the visual of a beautiful rose, a protection rose, out in front of you. You can give that rose any color you want. Let it be a big rose, maybe 2 feet in diameter. And go ahead and ground that rose all the way into Mother Earth. Throughout the day, you can check in on this rose. You might even put one to the sides of you or behind you, and let that rose absorb any negative energy that comes your way. And if it looks wilted or sad, just go ahead and offer it up to the Father, requesting another. Requesting any cords or any leaks in your aura to be filled in with this cosmic energy. And now finally imagining a golden sun right above your head, maybe 10 feet, a huge golden sun, and calling back any energy you've spent in anxiety. Calling back any energy you've spent in fear, in shame, in sadness. Calling back into this big golden sun, all of your unique gifts and talents, calling back joy and amusement. Anytime you spent traveling or convincing, anything else that you want to call back, go ahead and bring it into this golden sun. And when that sun feels nice and full, visualize your arms reaching up and pulling that sun down to the top of your head, giving it a little crack at the top, and pouring all of that golden light through every aspect of you in the here and now. Twinkling grace, bliss, peace, love to every cell of your physical body, every aspect of your subtle body, everywhere in your field, filling in with a golden rain shower. You might feel it, you might not. Either way, it's just perfect. Just trusting the process. And once you feel that that energy has gone all the way through and back down into the earth, and take a big breath. You might feel your hands and feet. Might do a little stretch or not. And then just kind of bend over, guys, and let any excess kind of move out. If it's possible to get too much light, but any extra, just moving down and out. Beautiful. If you have any stretches you want to do, you're welcome. Okay. How's that? Everybody good? Just letting a few more people in. Hi, 3C. Namaste. Namaste. Hi, friends. I can hear you. Hi. Oops, it muted again.
Can you hear me now?
Hi, I can.
Hi,
cutie.
you caught me. I'm about to start cutting some oranges and pineapple.
Right on. You caught us at the tail end of a beautiful meditation. How was that? Everybody okay?
Oh, nice.
Anybody want to share before I get started?
Sure, I'd like to share.
Sure, go for it.
I love the meditation, first of all, because I feel like, especially now, it's so easy to get ungrounded. So we really got to always remember to ground deep. That really helped me. Yeah. I love how you described the sun, where it I don't know if I understood it properly, where it like cracks and all the light flows in. That was such a beautiful visual.
It is
Yeah.
a beautiful meditation. I remember when I first started practicing this one, I could literally feel like the tinglings, coming through. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right on. Cosmic energy, golden suns. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I got really emotional when you said to release and return all of the energies from fear and sadness and joy and just all of it, that whole spectrum. I mean, I went through that entire range and it was beautiful to feel, and it was so tangible. So I really loved that. Thank you.
You're welcome, Justin. Thanks for saying that. I think it's really important that we recognize when we spend a lot of, which we all are, spending our time in anxiety or discomfort, like that's an expense, like that's an expensive energy, and that every day we want to call it back in. And as it returns, it feels like that, doesn't it? It feels like, oh yeah, you're home again. Like, come back. Like, I've missed you. And it's okay. You know, I think it's important that we allow ourselves to feel those emotions. And it's actually essential, because if we keep avoiding them, they tend to get bigger and badder until we acknowledge their presence. So it's like, oh, hello, welcome back, sadness, grief, anxiety. And let's take that energy and ground it out. Give it back to the mother. She knows what to do with that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, emotions are they're so powerful, and they're either a blessing or a curse, and we get to use them as such. And they provide us with everything that gives us our unique spark, our creative abilities, and gives us that unique sort of, they're the colors that we emanate. But they can also be consuming. They can overtake, and they can drive us. And so it's important to see them for how powerful they are, and understand that to use them appropriately.
Yeah. It is our natural state to be in peace and joy. You know, God's will for us is perfect happiness. So anything that's not perfect happiness is a message, is a lesson, is an opportunity to return back to that perfect happiness. You know, that we say often, you guys, maybe some of you are yogis or not, but that the yoga prayer is that all beings everywhere are happy and free. And so if there is a feeling where we're not feeling happy or we're not feeling free, just know that that's part of what's returning us back to happiness and freedom. That's the choice. That's the level of awareness that we're getting to as we continue to evolve. Beautiful, Justin. Thanks for that. Nicole, did you want to share, sweetie?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I did. The word restoration just kept coming up for me the whole time. So whereas it was a grounding meditation, for me, it was like a restorative meditation. And I just kept feeling like this, like the macro and the micro, like I was doing it for myself. But that is so right now where we're at as a species. You know, we're at that point of drawing back in our restoration with everything that's going on. So it was just so, I don't know, I loved the overall theme, how it connected so much from me to the big macro.
Yeah, I mean, that really feels like what we're doing, isn't it?
Yeah. So just so pertinent. It was like, so that's kind of what I took, was like doing it for everybody, you know, doing it for myself and for everyone else out there that's not on this call. It was cool. Thank you.
That it works. I mean, there's so much out there that says, you know, when you do this for you, you do this for others. There was this a statistic going around, and I don't know if it's true, but it was like one enlightened being is enough to bring 200,000 in. Has anyone heard something like that recently? That's the work that we're up to, that we're really looking to bring our energy up, to stay in the light. And that's the work that we do for our brothers and sisters everywhere. All right. Anybody else? I just want to share a little bit from patience. Lonnie, do you want to say something, Levy? Please do.
Sure. I mean, I'm already a pretty relaxed, like laid back person. So that meditation just made me even all the more. So I'm feeling like a zombie. What I'd like to do in this time when you guys were first talking about patience, I just finished a 1,000-piece puzzle and I've just started another one. So that's what I like to do. It just keeps the mind and everything busy, especially with all of these lengthy videos lately that I've been taking part in and watching, you know, with Charlie and things like that. So that's what I like to do. It just keeps you having something to kind of look forward to and complete something, so you can feel a bit rewarded at the end of it. So thank you for the invite here. I didn't know what to expect. So a meditation to start off was really nice. You're very good and gifted with that. So thank you.
Thank you. You know, I would hope so. It's been a long time. It's my whole adult life. So even though everything feels like it's changing in my life and the way that we serve and all of that, I think that the essence is to stay in that energy. And I think that, you know, part of this practice, when I started practicing yoga, was realizing, and my yoga teacher used to say that everything you think is make believe. And I used to be like, what do you mean everything I think is make believe? I've been to college, I'm super smart, I've written lots of papers, everything I think is make believe. And nowadays it feels like it's really coming to a whole other level of fruition to be like, wow, Everything I think is really make-believe. I better do a puzzle. I better sit down. I better just sit down and see if I can integrate this energy, because it's a lot. It's a lot of like, well, wait, what? Wait, what? And I think it's part of being reestablished in reality. You know, the Course of Miracles teaches us that there is a reality with a capital R, and there's a reality with a small r. And the reality with a capital R is God's reality, which is love, which is heaven. And that's what we're doing. We're coming to that place. But as we come into that more and more, we realize that all of the attachments we have to the little r's, you know, well, this is real. What people think of me is real. What it says on, you know, mainstream media is real, or what it says, you know, even what any spiritual teacher says is real. We need to readjust what's real from our heart space. And I think that that's what all of us are learning to do on a whole other level, including myself. Like, I thought I had this stuff down. Wow. Did I get a wake-up call, which has really taken me to invite all of us to, even with all of your studies, even with how far you've come, is to come to that innocence every day as a child. Like, every day, my yoga teacher used to say that every day I wake up, I'm a beginner again. And God, is that more and more true as I move through these unprecedented times? It's just like, wow, I'm a beginner again. It was so easy for me yesterday to do A, B, and C, and today it feels really hard. And that's part of this process, I think, of acceptance and just knowing that this is a practice. And as we continue to go deeper and deeper into the reality of love, people are calling that 5D consciousness right now, right? As we step into that space of really being at peace, like, for real, I'm at peace, no matter where I am and no matter what's happening. As we continue to do that, and as we let go, that's the emotional detachment too, is blessing it as it goes. Like, thank you so much for bringing me here. And in the yoga lingo, we would call that vinyasa. Right, Shelly? Let's vinyasa. Let's just like, okay, move forward, put your hands on the ground, exhale, inhale, open your heart up, lift it up, and then exhale, bow down. And as you bow down, you're literally emptying excess thoughts, right? And that's what this is. It's such a gift to be without thought. I think that's probably, Lonnie, why you love your puzzles so much. It's such a gift to be in that space without trying to analyze and be logical. The Course of Miracles says that's our egoic mind, and our egoic mind is literally our insanity. That part of us that knows there is a higher way, but that's attached to being right. And the part of us that's attached to being right really causes a lot of problems in the micro, and I'll use Nicole's language there, in the micro, but also in the macro. And that's what we're seeing in a really big way. And that's what's so beautiful about what's happening right now, if you ask me, with just this major untangling and simplifying and coming back to these types of opportunities where we're just together and we're just breathing and we're just meditating and we're just having a conversation. And that's enough. You know what I mean? Like, that's enough. All right. I just want to read you a little bit from the course, because patience, some of you guys are in the Trust Project, which was one of our online courses. And I'm really taking 90 days, guys, to figure out what I'm doing with everything. So please give me some space and just to kind of reassess what we're doing with everything. But if you're in the Trust Project, this month we're studying patience. And patience from the course is a quality of God's teachers. And God's teachers are all of us, whatever language you use. God's teachers are the ones that have been called and heard the call and answered. That's all God's teachers are. They're the ones that know that loving consciousness is the answer to all of our problems. The characteristics start with trust and honesty and tolerance, gentleness, joy. Defenselessness was last month, which was beautiful. No, 2 months ago. Then generosity, which was December. How interesting is that with the holidays, generosity? And this month is patience. Those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait and wait without anxiety. Like, just that sentence alone is so beautiful, isn't it? I'm going to read it one more time, okay? Those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait and wait without anxiety. And that's what we're learning, isn't it? So big. Patience is natural to the teacher of God. All he sees is certain outcome at a time perhaps unknown to him as yet, but not in doubt. The time will be as right as the answer. And this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. The past as well held no mistakes. Nothing that did not serve to benefit the world as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. Perhaps it was not understood at the time. Let's pause there. The past held no mistakes. How about that? How many of you think you've made mistakes in the past? Oh, I really messed that one up. Anybody? Well, I really effed that one up. I should have done it this way. Now in retrospect, we're so intelligent. Well, in retrospect, I love that statement. The past held no mistakes. Why? Because nothing that did not serve to benefit the world as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. So basically it's saying that it was perfect the way it was. And it allows us to let go of the guilt and more of that analytical mind that wants us to look at the past and try and analyze it. Yesterday, I was in a conversation with some friends and I was like, she was going on about something. And I said, sister, the past is over. Past is over. She looked at me like, wow, that was profound. Well, it's not really profound. It's just the truth, right? The past is over. All that's true is right now. And everything in the past is an opportunity for us to learn about how to be present. So I would really invite us to look at, all of the things in our own personal lives in the micro and in the macro as we continue to move through this whole ascension is about letting go of those past mistakes. The Course teaches us that if it's an error, right? And all an error requires is a correction. And the correction, where does the correction come from? Higher consciousness. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But a lot of times we think the correction comes through guilt and analytical, ways of trying to sort out, if I had done this, this would have changed. And you can see when that happens, you're out of the present moment, aren't you? I was at the beach yesterday, and the beach for me is like the perfect present moment. Anybody else feel that way? Maybe it's a park or a place for you that you just get to it. And for whatever reason, the past is gone and the future, like those things are not there anymore. And you can see it really clearly because there's the ocean and it's coming, and there's the heat and there's the sun and there's the kids playing, there's all that's happening. And it's like, wow, right now, the past held no mistakes because I'm right here. And everything there brought me to this beautiful present moment where we like to say in our community, only love is real. What's real? Well, that ocean's real. That salty water's real. Those clouds, my friend was like, don't you think clouds are angels? I was like, that's beautiful. Some of the clouds, they look like wings. They're like, poof. Go, wow, well, maybe that's how God, it's like the mystery of it all in the present moment. It's so divine. It's so freeing, isn't it? Patience is natural to those who trust, sure of the ultimate interpretation of all things in time, no outcome already seen or yet to come can cause them fear. I just love that. Anybody want to say anything about patience? Does that resonate with you guys? Does it feel appropriate for these days? Yeah, go ahead, Lonnie.
Yeah. So I wonder if what everybody thinks about having patience to a fault. So what would that mean to somebody? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Like okay, it's really glad you said that, because there's one piece that I kept out, and that's what Spirit was like, don't keep that out. And then Lonnie goes, well, can you talk about this? Here's a sentence I missed. Ready? Okay. Perhaps it was not understood at the time. Even so, the teacher of God is willing to reconsider all his past decisions if they're causing pain to anyone. Stay with me. This, I left it out because the sentence still irks me a little bit, because I'm like, well, wait a second here. Reconsider my past decisions if they're causing pain to anybody. And here's what I take from this, Lonnie, and let me know if this resonates with you. I'll give you a personal example. And I'll go back. When I was 24, I moved to San Francisco and basically moved in with my yoga teacher, who was 30 years older than me. And my family lost their mind. Like, they just thought I had joined a cult, and all of these things. And it was just total craziness. And my brothers were calling me, and everybody, it was a really terrible time for me. And I knew it was a decision I had to make, though, because I felt like it was my destiny. Like, I felt so called to this relationship that if I didn't do it, I knew I would regret it for the rest of my life. And I'm so glad when I look back 15 years and I go, oh, wow, that was a beautiful decision for me, but it caused pain to others. And I was patient with them. I was like, all right, well, this is what's going to happen. They're not going to be happy about it. But do I not do it to make them happy? Right? How many times have we struggled with this, where you're like, you make a decision for yourself, you know it's the right decision for you, you know it in the fibers of your being, and you know it's going to upset people you love. So reconsidering your past decisions, and this download just came to me this morning, probably because I knew I was going to talk about this. It was like, I'm going to be patient with their process, but not to a fault. Because if it was to a fault, I would be suffering through my patience. I wouldn't be waiting without anxiety. I'd be waiting with anxiety. And I think that that's what you're speaking to about patience with a fault. Like, we sit around, we're waiting for people, but we're anxious. So it's kind of like, people are talking about the bifurcation of timelines. It's like, okay, you can go. I'm going to reconsider this past decision only from how I behave in this situation. Stay with me. Only how I behave here, not how they behave. I can reconsider it. Was the decision based on my perfect happiness? Well, they would say to me, how could you be happy if we're not? How many families do that? Well, how could you be happy if I'm so upset? It's like, oh God, this is getting intense, right? But if I continue to try and convince them of how this was correct for me, that's where the anxiety comes. So there almost is that bifurcation of timelines where you just kind of let people be. You trust that, you're patient. You trust that everybody's on their own journey. But you always got to make your decisions for yourself. Tell me, please.
So, for on a personal, individual level. So if someone has, patience to a fault, what I'm kind of thinking about is like, okay, someone has patience, so much pain, the patience of Job, and it's just endless, and it's just immense, right? But would that abundance of patience keep us from acting on things that we maybe should be, because we're just so patient? So it could be affecting things that we're meant to be doing sooner. By just being so patient, we might not be acting on the things that we need to be acting on, that will in turn affect others, including ourselves and God's plan, things like that, right? That could be a fault. Otherwise, patience is beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's important that it's like neutrality. People say, well, if you're neutral, you're not taking a position. That's not true. We want to be neutral. We want to be patient, but that doesn't mean we don't act. We don't follow our hearts. We don't say what we need to say or do what we need to do. We can reconsider our past decisions to the effect that, yes, they might hurt others, but we have to take care of ourselves. It's like what Justin said in the beginning of the call, like your spiritual journey is the most important. So be patient, but act accordingly. And without anxiety, I think is the invitation that's being presented here. Because a lot of people are like, I would say pre all of this, it really felt like the spiritual community was bypassing a lot of it. Oh, it's all good. Don't worry about it. God's got it. It's going to work itself out. And I was there too. But then I felt like I kind of got drawn into it because it was that transition. I had to reconsider my past decisions of avoiding politics. Because when I was 24 and I was in DC when I went to San Francisco. I was like, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to work with these senators and these different organizations, and we're going to work on conflict resolution. And then the next thing I knew, I was in San Francisco sitting in a teacher training with people from all over the world, and then seeing that we were going to work on our own conflict resolution. And that somehow was enough. And it was for like 15 years until it wasn't enough anymore. It wasn't enough because we needed to take that out. We couldn't sit back anymore because we were going to offend people. And that's what I started to see in my own community, that a lot of yoga people, and you see this in a huge way in the organizations of yoga that are saying all of this craziness right now about, I don't want to get into it too much, but they're just not standing up for the truth, which I would say would be causing part of the problem. We need to go through this. We can't just sit back and be like, oh, it's done. Even though we're patient, we're actively moving through this. We can't just sit back. Does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit? Go ahead, Justin. Tell me what you got.
Yeah, so just to kind of add on to that, I think it's important to draw on the distinction between patience and complacency. And really looking at both of those, what is the driving force behind that? Complacency is fear driven. It's saying I'm afraid to act in a certain way because I fear a public reaction. I fear what my family's going to say. I fear what my friends are going to say. And that's a fear-based decision. Whereas a love-based decision and that driving towards righteousness does not care what others think. It doesn't matter because you're pulling from the divine. You are so certain of your connection to God, to spirit, that it's going to drive you to whatever action. And that can be very patient because you have to sort of wait for that calling. You have to be patient and present in order to truly understand that true calling. But you've also got to be discerning enough to know when my ego is stepping forward and disguising itself as potentially patience, but it's not really. It's more fear. So it's different for every single person in every single scenario. But really looking at that driving force and what's behind it is so important, so vital to really see it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
I love that, Justin. I love that. That was wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, because that's what happens. Like, that's such a great word, complacency. Because a lot of us do that and we call that patience. Well, but it's so disempowering. And this is about really calling back our power, calling back that energy, bringing it back, being able to speak up, being able to make the decisions that are going to disappoint others, but knowing that if it's from God, that's a part of the plan.
Mm-hmm. Marie, that's what I was just going to say, is I think it's an ask to go back to our connection with spirit and like to really have that groundedness inside of ourselves, where even all of these terms that we're throwing around, like when you said patience is a virtue, or all the stuff that we're saying, they are words. If you can like supersede the words and go to God directly through your own connection, through meditation, through quieting yourself and listening, then almost all of this is kind of just like irrelevant. It's just thoughts. It's just, you know what I mean? Like there's this part of like, okay, that's one level, let's move aside from it and go to the next level of just such a pure connection that it's just known. And you don't have to even so much worry about like that discernment that we're talking about between patience and complacency, because there's an urge, there's like an inner knowing and like a sensation that comes inside of us where we know just by tuning in to that other level.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that inner knowing. It's like when you know, The hard part
sorry.
sometimes. Go ahead, Lonnie.
I like what Justin said about the, the patience waiting for that calling, right? Because, personally for me, I'm 46, so I've had lots of life experience. I'm going to have more, obviously. But, just recently, I'm feeling like there's like this standstill. I'm just made to just be still right now. Until I get the word. Till I get the word and the okay from God to pursue something different than I might have thought it was supposed to be. So I'm just waiting, and I'm just doing my puzzles, just being patient and waiting and tuning into this kind of thing, like when I'm invited or when it's there in front of me, and gotta say, it's not wasting time. It's not wasting time. I don't have to feel like I have to be but I have to be doing, but I have to be doing. Well, doing this puzzle for a couple hours a day is what I'm doing right now. And it's okay. I have to be okay with that. I don't have to be doing these big, amazing things or whatever that. So that's where patience is very key right now. And like I said, I liked what Justin said about it, between you and God, just waiting for that cue and that connection to let you know, this is it now. This is what I need you to do. So I'm just waiting. And it does go in line with everything that's happening right now with all the politics and things, right? Because how long have we all been waiting, as we've been following now for years and years? We know it's just around the corner. Oh, it wasn't just around the corner. Okay, but just have faith. It's just around the corner. Keep doing my puzzle while I'm waiting. Anyways, it's an amazing journey, and I'm so blessed to have people like you guys to just be patient with. It's nice.
Yeah, and what you said it perfectly. What better time than now to have that period of waiting? And God's asked us to sort of hibernate and sit through this tumultuous period so that we're prepared, so we're fully rested for this action-packed moment that's about to just burst forth. So I think that's beautiful. And as we all talk about, and as Charlie talks about all the time, there's always the work. There's always that internal clarity that can be worked on, purifying what we're intaking in our bodies, both in breath and food. And so there's always that portion, and then that's going to allow that message to come in more clearly every single moment of every single day. So I that's beautiful what you said, and I think that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie?
Oh yeah, I was gonna just say, like, when you think about it, what an amazing time to be alive. That's kind of like all I have to say, because I think I love what Justin said, where it's like, we kind of have to right now focus on ourselves as much as possible, because first of all, it's so easy to, trust me, it's so easy to look at the external stuff. Like even today, I was always like curious, like, oh, what's next? Like, what did Trump say? What's going on? But, we just got to not really worry about any of that right now. And because very soon after all the stuff that people are going to hear, they're going to be shocked. We're going to need to be there on the front lines and help everybody, right? So it's kind of like we're preparing ourselves. And 2021 is going to go by so fast. So, yeah, we've really got to be grounded. And, we've got to focus on ourselves right now so that we could have the time to later on to help everybody else.
Very healing. I think I keep seeing you, Lonnie, with your puzzles. I keep seeing you like, and it's so peaceful. It's like, what are you really, we value action, we value production in the old world, in the old way. It was always about what you could produce. But now it's about how can you be? How trusting can you be? How patient can you be? How much time can you spend in the state of peace each day? And that's like a meditation. You're purifying your energy. You're healing. You're looking at the conversation that's happening in between your ears and coming above it and allowing it to kind of dissolve the higher and higher you get. And I think that's like I had a past life regression, Nadia. I was talking to Nadia about it a couple weeks ago, and in the experience, I had this feeling of being so held by the mother, like in the fetal position in some level of the earth. And it was like the safest, most beautiful feeling of just being so held. And I felt like I was being healed at such deeper and deeper levels. Bye, Shelly. We'll see you next time, honey. And I think that's part of what we're up to right now is just healing deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and more fully, so that, yeah, when and if and how it all unfolds, we don't need to worry about that. We just know that when the message comes, you're going to hear it because you've cleared so much of the excess. So it's going to be very obvious and very clear what the next move is. And that's how patience, I think, is really working. It's not like this anxiety of what should I do and how should I do and comparing myself to others and getting trapped into that kind of monologue within our minds, but allowing ourselves to kind of set that aside each day and get into a meditative state and to clear and to ground and to heal. And to heal is to make whole, is to come back into our wholeness, our that place where we're so connected on all levels, not only to each other, but to ourselves, to our higher selves, to our heart space. Yeah, really great stuff, you guys.
Marie, I just keep going back to that micro macro, like what you're talking about. And it's absolutely what I believe, like, I believe Spirit's asking all of us to do that right now. Like, that's been the quiet part, just calm down, quiet down, go inside, stop doing, and just clear yourself, like get as clear as you can. A lot of the stuff you've been talking about with nutrition, I've been really like resonating with. And it's just like, how clear can you get? How much can you literally lighten up your load? And I think what Shelly said before she left too is because it's time to be of service, and it's time to usher in this new world. And it's not time to bring all that old stuff with us. It's time to clear away the karmas and clear away the baggage so that we can all come to it in a much brighter way, in a way that we can be the light for other people. We can't do that if we're stuck in that like monkey mind, that ego, like I'm not enough, or what do I need to do? And I also think it's also why, like, there's a symbology, I think, to like that pandemic, like the illness thing going around, where that kind of knocks people on their butt and makes them be stuck. Like, you have to lay in bed and you have to spend this time getting well. Like, I kind of think that there's a beauty in that if we can look at, the pandemic as that, like an opportunity for people to stay still, to go into things and ask, what is this grief that's in my lungs? Or what is this, aching in my body? What is this feverish up and down that I'm feeling? Like there's all this, I think, symbology in the symptoms of our dis-ease that is really just a symptom of the dis-ease that's inside of us. And so if we're willing to be still during those periods where our body is asking us to, and then get to the deeper levels of, what is it that your soul is asking of you? And even past life wise, like what are the things that are still, in that junk DNA, which is where I think it lives. I'm not sure, maybe Nadia can talk about that, but I imagine that like 97% of what scientists can't see is that, our lineage, our heritage, our ancestry, and our past lives, or parallel lives, if you prefer that term. But just kind of going into that part and saying, okay, like what are the things that are hanging out in there that right now I have time right now to work on that, and I have time to heal that and release it. And so I know that's kind of where that conversation we were just having and what Shelly said pulled together for me, at least, is let's just, and even somebody pointed out to me the other day that we are, at least where I live in, I think, does everybody here live in the northern hemisphere? I think we all do. I think so, right? Yeah, I mean, we're in winter. And what is winter in terms of nature? It is a time to rest, to be still and quiet. It's not a time for growth and budding. I know, Marie, you're down there in paradise, but I'm in Pennsylvania where it's like snowy and cold and everything's just, empty looking. So it's kind of like symbolic for me, at least, is that this is a time to embrace that season of life and just be patient and wait.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Nicole. I want to welcome Deborah Jane. Hi, Deborah. I want to tell you guys just a quick little story. And I don't know, 3C, did you want to say something?
Oh, no, you can, yes, but I don't want to take away from your introduction.
No, I love it. Why don't you say something, and then I'm going to go into a little riff with Deborah here.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I'm walking in late, and I want to apologize for that. It seems like I missed a really great meditation, which I could always use. But just the topic of patience, so much gnosis. You guys are such wonderful children of God, in the way that you guys are so just vulnerable in your expression, and I really appreciate that. And one of the things that I've always kind of paired with patience for my life has taught me, in good and bad, the humility. And I've really embraced humility more so in this last year, and it kind of ties back to what Nicole, I think, was saying. And it was so powerful to know that, nothing is lost with the spirit, so if you are going through a challenge, and then so many people, myself included, have experienced challenges this year because of illness and everything. And this is how I know, just side note, this is how I know everything is connected, because it was not like 12 hours ago that I was having conversations online with friends about this very topic, about, being gently forced into this stillness. If you're sick, you're immobile. You got to let your body heal. And when you're kind of put in a position of losing, if it's mobility or just comfort in breathing because you're sick, or anything that you become, that I'll speak for myself, that I've become comfortable with, it kind of sets it back, and you kind of look from that 30,000 point view and say, oh, wow, I was running around trying to be in control, and I lost sight that I was trying to be in control. And humility always grounds me, and I tie that really much into patience, because I think patience is the key to understanding how amazing it is that everything is one. Because the more patience you offer to yourself first, because you're always growing. Like you said, every day is a new day, every moment is a new moment, and take no thought, cast no judgment. And it starts with yourself. I mean, for myself, at least, taking that judgment away from my internal mechanisms, it really frees up so much space to go back to that childhood mentality, to that everything is new and everything is worth learning. I know we have children, and children are such a powerful reminder of the simplicity and the beauty of life, because they don't overanalyze, until we push our preconceived, broken system teaching. And that's what I've been really kind of just sprinting at, is letting go of all of that judgment. And it's so easy because, my faith upbringing was, without me knowing, was very judgment oriented. And then I got older, I kind of looked at it and feel like, oh, that's like toxic. That's not, and it's not like they sell it that way. Like, it's more like just kind of a passive aggressive judgment. And it's a kind of sizing yourself up. And I think that stillness through patience, and again, humility, is allowing one to really understand that there's no room when you break down everything into a moment. You were saying so wonderfully that, the past is gone. And you can't give spirit the past, and you can't give spirit the future. You can only give it the moment, and the moment is the gift. So the gift right now is that we're sharing right now in this conversation. We're all opening our hearts to letting right now my voice speak for all of us, and see, can you connect to that? Where can you find the connection, and where do you find something that's actually new or radically different? Or are you finding kind of this resistance internally to accept something? And why is it? So become that observer, observing, wow, that's not even me choosing, that's ego. That's my monkey mind, if you will, really trying to take over this innocence. And this innocence, like you said, is where we're called to just be patient and perfect in that casting no judgment. But yeah, I can chime for a little bit longer, but I'd like you to take over.
I love that. Well, I think it's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. In our, in the past iteration of this community, it was all women. So it's so healing for me, as a facilitator, to hear you and to hear Justin and to hear all the other amazing beings that embody masculine bodies. Let's just go there. Speaking so beautifully about this stuff, because I think we've been so trained in many ways to expect the men in our world to be like, "Rrr," and we see that, and that's very kind of celebrated in this weird kind of toxic way. So I just, your voice was so calming, and everything you shared was so beautiful, 3C, and we love you so much, and Justin, and all of you beautiful men. And that's really what I believe this is about too. It's really integrating this feminine and masculine. Like we need to be in this together. We need to serve each other. And it's very healing, I think, for a lot of us that came from more patriarchal type families, to hear this divine masculine coming forth so beautifully. So thank you for that so much. And I hope you always come. Hi, Andrea. Andrea's coming in. I'm going to jump to Deborah here because I want to share. Andrea, we love you so much. Thank you for being here. Deborah, I just want to talk about miracles for a second, because it really ties in beautifully to a lot of us that came from more patriarchal type families, to hear this. Somebody's got, oh my gosh, look at that little one with Lonnie. So sweet. So I was scrolling on Facebook, you know, as we do these days. And basically I friended Deborah Jane. And I was like, I like her. I'm just going to, you know, request a friend. And then she was like, hey, I do some energy healing. Do you want a heart wall healing something? And I was like, obviously I want that. I don't know what it is, but obviously I want that. And thank you for that. She's like, yeah, it's all good. I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay. And a couple days later, I found myself literally in bed. I was like kind of walking, and I had all these things I was going to do. And I kind of saw my bed. I was getting ready, and I just kind of got in my bed. And I was like, Danny, I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm just like, can't move my body. I need to lay down. He's like, great, just lay down then. And so I laid down, and a few hours later, I got this message from Deborah, and was like, so how are you feeling? I'm like, really kind of tired. I don't know what's going on. She's like, well, I just did this healing. And then she sent me this PDF of like all of this energy that she had cleared. And I was like, wow, this was amazing. And she's like, do you want to hop on a call? We hopped on a call. We had a beautiful conversation. And Deborah, if you can just kind of come in and tell us like what you're up to and what you're doing, because you did it again. We did like a follow-up healing session, and I felt it when I was at the beach. Sorry, guys. And I literally passed out like face down on the beach. I woke up like a couple hours later, and I was covered in sand. And I was like, what is going on with me? Like this energy of like the rest of it was just so divine. And then the next day also having a good stretch where I literally was just so peaceful and so relaxed. But it was, you know, I've been trained to be like a go-getter too. And so it's a lot of work to kind of just rest. But in this case, it wasn't work at all. It was like, I just couldn't move. there was no like negotiation. It's kind of what Nicole had posted here. Like I needed to be the patient so that I could practice patience. Like I really needed to rest. And as many of you know, I'm clearing some density that we call cancer these days. So it's deep, and it's a rock, and it's a lot. And Deborah really kind of got me good in a couple ways, going deeper into resentments and grievances and judgments. And if we do go into the past, we go with a purpose to reconsider, right? So that we can clear and do that from that place of presence. So anyway, Deborah, if you want to just introduce yourself and tell us what the heck you did the other day, because it was really beautiful. And I just, so much gratitude to you.
It doesn't sound great if you had to go to bed and you fell asleep like that twice. So afterwards, I think you felt better. And I'm sure.
So too, just to say, I really loved the rest. I just want to say that it was beautiful and so healing. It was like I shared with you, it felt like I was being like rocked by the mother. Like, just rest, baby. I got this. Just rest.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words, and hello to everybody, and apologies as well for being late, but I had an appointment, but I was really keen to come and say hello. And I can see Carmi here as well, so hi Carmi. I recognize your name as well. But yeah, thank you so much, Marie. It's such an honor and a blessing to be able to say hello to you guys and to meet you guys and to be part of this amazing spiritual journey, or whatever we want to call it, right? Whatever we want to call it, it's just beautiful. So yeah, I think one of the ways that I'm blessed to be able to serve is with the heart healings that I do. I'm not sure how that evolved into it, but it's something that I feel completely blessed to be able to offer people. But yeah, I think it's all about it is all about opening the heart, isn't it? At the end of the day, and as JC was talking, it was 3C, sorry, was talking about, you know, we have so much, you know, that we've suppressed, so many emotions that, you know, society hasn't kind of allowed us, or we felt unable to express, and so we just suppress them down, don't we? And I think that's what causes most of the problems. And of course, that's what keeps our frequency low. And it's all about frequency. So it's releasing those low frequency emotions that's kind of really, really important, I think. So thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm going to make sure that we put Deborah's information in the show notes so that if you guys want to reach out to her, it's really beautiful work. And I have to say, like, it really works. It really, really does. And what a beautiful thing to receive and to like be of service to each other with all of our different gifts and talents so that we can continue to lift each other up in the times that we really need it. And that's something I'm really stepping into now in terms of like seeing that from a higher place and really celebrating that. I think in my past life, like let's talk pre-solstice, right? It was a lot about like, I had to do everything. Like I had to do it all. I was like racing. And now it's like, I get into these live calls and I'm like, wow, I just really don't have to do much. Just like show up and let you guys, you know, do all the brilliant work and to share where you're at with things. And that feels so healing for me because we are in this thing together. And I think all of us, you know, all minds are joined, the Course teaches us. So when we join our minds in that space of spirit and transmitting beautiful, you know, empowered words and energies, then we create this kind of resonance, and it's uplifting for everybody. So thank you for that. Thank you. Anybody else?
Marie, I have to dash, but before I go, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. And just tying back in what you were talking about Deborah's gifts and patience and everything that we're experiencing right now in the world. I just wanted to tell like a 2-second story because I had to run my kids around to a couple of activities. But what I've been coming up against right now is this awe. Like I am in awe of patience because for 25 years now, I've been practicing yoga, energy work, and this is mostly on myself, like not so much out in the world. I haven't had like a big yoga teaching or big energy practice work, or I haven't really practiced shamanism on anybody except myself and maybe a loved one. But all these things that I've learned since I was like 22, maybe, I'm 44 now. So all the things that I've learned, I've kind of been praying for so many years, like, God, show me what is the point of all of this? If you're not making this like my thing in life, then, you know, all this stuff. Fast forward to yesterday, I was listening to something and they were talking about how this is the time, like all of a sudden we're going to be focused on free energy and people are going to understand magnetics and they're going to understand resonance. And we're going to begin to understand that something like cancer, like healing cancer, is getting the right frequency to match the cancer and heal it. And I was just like, oh my God, it has been 20 some years of me being patient to finally enter into a world where this is of value, when I've been told by many people, or at least I feel like I've heard the message, and I'm sure it's a projection of my own mind and ego, but I've heard the message that like, it's kind of quackery. It's not as valuable as like medicine, you know? And so now I'm finally at this cusp where that's flipping 180 degrees. And we're about to enter a world where we realize how contaminating that other method of healing was and how valuable this one is. And like, it's all happening right now. It's like this one pointedness is occurring in my own heart right now. And even this conversation, it's like all of the miracles and the synchronicities of life, even this conversation, the way that like the 3 topics that have been brought up, or 4 topics, are all, it's all that same seedling. It's like amazing to me. It's just divine. And I just want to thank you all for the time that you spent on this call today. I do have to run though. So thank you again and much love to you all.
We love you. That was so
thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you very, very much.
I just want to, I have this just as you were speaking, and I'm just going to keep going. But when she said, like, you know, that the world said it was quackery, or when I felt, you know, that it wasn't valuable or whatever, either a projection of myself or really people saying this is not valuable, that's the little R. Like,
Yeah.
that's the reality with the little R that we're moving from into the reality with a capital R, where only love is real. And so the Course teaches us that we're aliens here. You know, those of us that are the ones that have been, you know, in quotes, persecuted or crazy or quacks or whatever that is, that's the past. You know, like now it's, you know, Colleen said to me in a text recently, like, it's our turn to shine. And it was like, that meant so much to me because I thought I was shining, but I was trying to prove how valuable this work was. And that energy showed that I didn't value it really. And I was still looking for external approval. And now it's like the tables have turned, haven't they? And we can start to see that more and more people are coming into this and going, wow, this is what I need. I need a heart healing, sister. She's like, do you want a heart healing? I'm like, yeah, thank you. I didn't know I needed that, but I absolutely needed a heart healing. Like, you know what I mean? And even speaking with Nadia and having Janice here and all of you beautiful souls that I've been with, like, this is what it's about big time now. And we're now being like, this is absolutely normal talk. Like not the most recent, because we've had so many live shows with the Charlie Gang recently, the Freak Sense family, but Justin, I know you were on one of them recently. And like, we went into this whole conversation about unicorns. And I thought, I was like, Christ, if my family were to watch this right now, they would be like, Marie for sure she's lost her mind. Like Charlie was on and on about how we have to become like unicorns. And I was going like, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And I'm going, oh my God, this is so crazy. But it was so true for me because he was talking about the pineal gland and like this one, like God consciousness, like, and when he said we go into heaven, like as if we're on a unicorn, I had a vision of like me as, you know, the embodied Christ consciousness on a unicorn, like walking back home into my Father's kingdom where I am at home. And it was the most beautiful vision that I knew it was true because I had it. And it was enough. And it was like, I actually thought to myself, and then the next day, somebody from my family literally wrote me and was like, I cannot. I was like, I don't even know what's going on with you right now, but it's like total craziness. And I was like, you sister, and I love you. And I know it is total craziness if you're holding on to logic. It is absolutely totally crazy. And the blessing in all of this is to travel that bridge from the small R to the big R, where you can talk about unicorns, you can laugh, you can be open to new possibilities. And that's what we're normalizing. You know, like this is ascension. Like that's 5D consciousness. If you ask me, what is that? Well, it's just a conversation about Christ consciousness and that manifesting in your reality from a moment to moment basis every day. And every day you're a beginner and every day you have an opportunity to, you know, go there to that place where only love is real, where you're at home. And that's what home is. Home. And inside home is OM, which is Om, which is the universal vibration of Om, of home. And that's what we want. We want to resonate in that heart space. And so anything that we can do, even if it sounds crazy, like she gave me a remote healing, you guys. She's in Spain, I'm in Mexico, and I passed out. Like, I'm telling you straight up, that's what happened. It was so beautiful. And it was like the deepest, it was as if I was a newborn, literally still in the womb. Aww. That's what it felt like. It was the most precious experience. And I want more of those. You know what I mean? That's what I get so excited about, you know, in terms of the future and in terms of what we're all manifesting simply by our energetic alignment to this timeline. That's all it takes is like we're putting our energy in this direction, and this is what we're manifesting. We want more and more space within our days and nights on planet Earth where only love is real. And the conversations that like this are just what we do every day, and we're not so worried about what other people think or say about that because we know it's real. And we know it's real in a place that can't be altered, you know, and can't it can't be altered. The Course teaches us that the Christ in you cannot be crucified. And I love that statement. The love in you, just if you don't like the word Christ, you don't have to use it. But, you know, the love in you, the purity in you, the essence of you, the innocence of you, it cannot be destroyed by anything or anyone. And so that's who you, it's the Course is saying you have an identification problem. You just need to identify as that. If you identify yourself as that, then you're kind of golden. But that is what, you know, so many of us are talking. You are golden. I didn't even realize I said that. But that's the work. That's the work that we're all up to, is to become more and more golden, to pull back that golden energy and to embody that in this reality is the mission, is what life is all about. And it's such a beautiful one. It's such a beautiful journey. So anyway, I'm so grateful to be here with you. Andrea, did you want to say anything, sweetie, or anybody else want to chime in? Nadia, you want to go first? Go for it.
Yeah, this has been such a wonderful conversation, and I resonate so much with everything that everyone is saying. And I feel just, you know, through this, I can just feel my entire body lighting up, you know, like my heart chakra, my throat, and my head. Just as you're talking about the unicorn, I'm just like pulsating.
Right?
But it's so, the topic too is so appropriate. Patience, you know, because this morning I woke up and I'm like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Like, I feel like I have to do something with all of this information and, you know, putting it out there. Do I put it out there? Do I not? Or do I just wait? And, you know, but I really was like, because my inclination is to just like kind of, you know, post stuff on social media, but is that really the best use of my energy, and what is that going to create? And so I refrained myself from doing that last night, and then just really sat with it this morning, you know, and just connected in. Is like this the best way to put my energy? And I did get the message, like, no, I don't need to blast things out. That it is time. It's just time for patience. It's time that, like, I'll know when it is the right time, and it's not going to come from this place of wanting to change people's minds necessarily. You know, because I think that can be where I go, like, no, that's not right. I want you to know what I know.
Yeah.
So it's more patience of like, it's okay. Some of these people, they might not see things the way that I see them right now, but at some point they're going to realize like, oh, I'm seeing, you know, my whole world is upside down, and how can I find my grounding? And that's when we're going to be called to action. And so instead of blasting people now, which is, you know, not coming from a great place, it's like, no, I want to be here for when people are really needing it and can be helpful and useful. Because I don't know if it is helpful right now to get into the conversation.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because I've been really curious about that too. And Jess, I'll pass it to you in a second. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's helpful right now other than listening to your own guidance. And, you know, like with my family member who reached out to me, and she's like, I watched everything. I think you've totally lost your mind. I was like, well, hey, guess what? I love you so much, and I actually miss you. And I'm just going to trust the process on this. Like, I'm just going to trust the process. And that's enough. It's like, we just gotta accept, like, that's enough.
And for some people, it is the thing to write and to put these very eloquent and amazing things out. And, you know, part of me, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. But, you know, it's like, we all have our part, and just have to tune in and listen to that. And I'm going to trust in that process. Like, I'll know when it's time.
Yeah. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust that inner knowing. That's beautiful. Trust is the foundation. The Course in Miracles says trust is the foundation. And when you're established in trust and you've surrendered, like you surrendered your will for God's will, you're surrounded by mighty companions. And that's what this is about. It's about being surrounded by mighty friends. And all of us have a function. All of us have a mission. All of us have a purpose. And our knowing that is individual. It's an individual journey that we do together. And so your work, I mean, all of your work is going to be very handy. So it's, you know, one of my Australian warrior friends is always writing, hold the line. And I see her like as a warrior woman with this like big hair and these beautiful breasts. And she's like, hold the line, hold the line. It's like, I remember her, you know, in a past life or something when we were fighting a war, I don't know. And she was like, hold the line. And I was like, okay, hold the line. because we tend to compare ourselves, and that's part of the issue is like, well, she's doing this and I should, and that's all egoic consciousness. That's all trying to psych you out of the present moment. So stay in the present moment, listen for your guidance, maybe do a puzzle. You know, Lonnie thinks puzzles. I mean, I get into a puzzle and I become a nervous wreck. So I think anyone who can complete a 1,000-piece puzzle, like, I bow to you, sister. Like, that's amazing. Wow. I get like all frantic, but you know, we all have different energies and different things. And I want to celebrate that in this new level of community, and just really celebrate each other and our beautiful gifts and talents. And that's the next thing. It's not comparing. And that's what you're growing out of. That's what we're letting go. That's what you're stepping out of that body, literally that physicality, that emotional body, that subtle body. You're stepping out of those energies into another.
And stepping out of the shoulds, like I should do this or I should do that, or keeping busy for the sake of doing something. It's like, yeah, that's been my work over this past few years, really, just unhooking, a constant process of unhooking from that drive.
We're beings first.
Yeah.
We're beings. We be, and then we do, and then we have. And so I want to invite you guys, if you're interested in some of like the course curriculum, I posted the first module, and there's a whole lesson in there around being and doing and having. And our old models was like, well, if I had the time, I would do what I loved, and then I would be happy. The ascension model is be happy. That's the work. Until you're happy, don't do anything. Sit down. You know, do a puzzle, lay down, you know, get a heart healing, do some yoga, go for a run, you know, drink some juice. You gotta get to being in your essence, and then you do, and then you have. But that's what we're learning. That's why I keep saying, like, we're newborns. We're starting again. We're unlearning the old model that's being taken down in a micro and a macro way. Thank the good Lord in heaven that's actually happening, and that, you know, all of us are getting activated in our DNA. So it's getting easier and easier. I mean, for those of us who've been on this journey, it's been kind of like it's taken a lot of energy to stay here. I think Nicole, when she comes back to this, would agree, you know, 22 years of trying to keep yourself sane around this, knowing that you're a unicorn business. You know what I mean? Like being okay with that. Now it's just going to get easier and easier, because why? Well, because more and more of us are doing it, and so much more of the systems are being broken down that kept us really tied to that. And that's why we're talking about doing what you can to clean up every aspect of your life. You know, your diet, your relationships, the time you spend in social, and all of the things, so that your being is your primary focus now. Be the men and women God would have us be. That's what we need to figure out.
I would love to just say a little something.
Please. And then Lonnie, then Jess, and then Lonnie. That's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, Marie, because I think it really has to come back to gratitude. And if we're grateful for each of those moments, and really actually be in that now moment, there is no fear, and it is only that. I was reminded by that yesterday, because this whole journey has been about the children, and envisioning a world that can be so different for our children and grandchildren, and for all of this to come forth. And, you know, yesterday for me was quite like a lot of energy going on. And right at the end of the day, my daughter asked, you know, can I put my astral candle on and go in the bath? And can I just have the bathroom to myself and close the door and do that? And for me, it was just like, yes, like, wow, you know, and we forget that, you know, we get wrapped up in all these, in what's going on externally, and, you know, who's judging me for thinking this way, and, you know, and it just comes down to that, just those moments. And if we can just cling to those now moments and make the best of them. And I wrote down earlier, I'm a dancer. I've been a dancer all my life. So for me, speaking is not how I express, but after the meditation, I wrote down, like, our ego gives us these labels that are linked to the 3D, right? And we have all these labels of ourselves, of what we are. in our society, and who we are to everybody else. We're a mother, we're a teacher, we're all these things. And we have to ask ourselves where we over identify with ourselves, and in like what's taking over, and little facts that make up, like these little facets that make up the whole. And so asking where the imbalance is within ourselves is going to reflect out in our external world. And when you dig in and you find that balance within yourself, you actually can live it off the yoga mat and live it day to day and moment to moment. And when you can do that, when you can actually live that, that's when like we can literally live with no fear and just in patience and in peace. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was so beautiful. We want to see you dance sometime. You can do a dance. Siobhan is going to sing for us in a little bit, but I welcome Siobhan. I'm so glad you're here. I love you so much. Seriously, I love hanging out with you in Messenger and on these live calls. I just love your energy. I love all of you so much right now. I'm just like, I've got like tears streaming down my face. I hope you can't see. I mean, it's fine if you see, but I'm just super happy and super grateful for every one of you. You're so beautiful, all of you. Wow, wow, wow. I know, Jess, you wanted to say something, sweetie. Please use your beautiful voice.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, beautiful friends. I could have picked up on any of the threads that have been shared today. It's just a beautiful weaving, and I resonate so deeply. But the thread I'm going to tug on is just what Nadia was sharing about just our roles and our purpose in this ascension process and this awakening, and that pull to want to share more publicly everything that we've learned and come to see as truth. And I had shared in the group that I was really feeling that pull strongly at the end of the calendar year. Just, I don't know, there was something that occurred. It was like this 3 days and 3 nights thing, like right at the end of 2020, where I felt like, wow, this is my birth process here. I've been going through this shift for 9 months, and I felt that, I felt the waves of birth, and that I was, shifting into new form. And I really felt that calling to want to just simply share the journey of the last 9 months, and to really just be received in that journey. And as I wrote that out, and it was like pages and pages. So I don't know how it would have even turned into some sort of like public social media post, but I don't know, as I worked to kind of sift through that, I just put down my paper and I sat in meditation, and what came through was, Jess, you need to be heard by those that can receive you. And I know that those in my community, that really hold that energy of where I've grown out of, I know that they just don't have the capacity to receive me where I am, and it's okay, and I love them. And I know that hopefully we'll be together again someday, but that's just the truth of the matter, is that they just don't have the capacity, and they wouldn't. And so by sharing anything, I wouldn't be getting my needs met, my needs met of really just wanting to be received. And so I let that go. And I know that, my role is, I really resonate with the archetype of the midwife. And I know that my role is in holding space for others in their own awakening, in their own birth process. And so, we wait, we just be patient, I suppose. And I mean, I even said that out loud sometime within the last week. Like, I feel like I'm in a waiting room. My kids turn to me and they're like, what? And I'm just like, I just feel like that's where we're at right now. We're just like holding it down. And just waiting. And yeah. So anyways, yeah, I guess just wanted to share my resonance with that thread there. So thank you.
I would just say that, you know, receiving, it's beautiful. That's what we want. We want to receive. That's a very feminine, that really nurtures our authentic feminine, to be able to receive, to be filled, to trust that. And I think we've been so wounded in many ways because you come from a pure heart. All of us have pure hearts. I mean, all of us are like, hey, like, I want to share this transformation. I want to share this journey I've been on. And to not be received can be very difficult. And it hurts. It definitely hurts. I mean, we've all been rejected, whether with this information or something else. There's been like, oh, I'm really feeling rejected right now. And I think that that's part of the process, so that we stop doing that. And we turn towards those where we are being received and we are being valued. And so where you're valued here and you're well received here, and we love you so much. And I think that that's what community is about. There's unity in there. So being of like mind becomes more and more essential. And so many of us have been, you know, the black sheep. I call us the white sheep in our own family, right? Where you're like, everybody thinks you're the weirdo, when you're like, gosh, I don't know why I'm still trying to fit into this paradigm. And I really wish in many ways, and I don't want to go back into my past and want to change it, but I see how much time I spent trying to fit in. And what that really did was cause deep levels of grief and resentment in my feminine heart space, because I wasn't being received. And so I can't necessarily blame them for that. I can just take initiative and become empowered and get myself in the right communities and trust that God is going to lead me into that, into those people. And again, the minute I trust that, here come my mighty companions. And that was a big one for me too. It was like, you know, trusting that if I didn't charge for these, that people would come, and more people came that I was resonating with on a higher level. And it is such a beautiful experience. So just to take that, Jess, and encourage you to keep going, keep writing, even though we don't know what the writing is for. I'm writing a lot right now too. Who knows? It might be a book, who knows? Just keep going with it. And maybe looking at that, and when you're called, it could be just like paragraphs that you post, because I'm sure you just downloaded some really beautiful information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you. Anybody want to share? I'm going to have Siobhan sing soon. Justin, go for it, babe.
I didn't want to skip over Lonnie. I know she had something to say as well.
Lost track of where we were. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Okay, whatever. It's all about going with the flow, right? Going with the flow. Jess, nice to meet you. It sounds like you're a like-minded birth worker, so we might want to connect in that way. And 2 days ago, it was my 9-year-old's birthday. So on my page, I shared some photos of my free birth with him. And in the comments, I shared a YouTube video of birth, some of the footage that we got from that birth. So you get to see me all naked and pushing out a baby. It's pretty amazing. I wanted to say
where do you have that posted, Lonnie? Where are you sharing that?
Well, on my Facebook page, I did a post 2 days ago, just kind of about the birth. So it's in the comments there. There's a link to the YouTube, but you can always reach out in a PM and I can give you that link.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. And as for like puzzles, yes, it's not for everybody, but I recommend doing a puzzle of your dream, something you dream about, so that you can, right? I usually do like Thomas Kincaid ones. They're always kind of cottage-like with water nearby and lots of colors and trees and sky and things like that. That's all I do. I can't do like a cat, or I can't do like a bunch of dogs or socks, or I don't know. I can only do certain types of puzzles or I will lose interest for sure. And I was going to say that we hear a lot from Charlie Freak about build it and it'll come, right? So again, with this hibernation stage, the stage of the seasons right now, speaking to us to slow down. I don't know who all took part in Josh X's 20-day juice cleanse last month. Yeah. but I personally can't go back to food now. Like, it's like, every time I eat, like, then I feel heavy and more dense, and it just doesn't feel good. So now I'm just like teetering, like I'm doing juicing, but then I'm still trying to eat now with my kids or whatever. But it's such an interesting journey. So even if that's what I'm supposed to be focusing on right now, in the meantime, waiting for, these things, is just getting that part perfected for me, what's going to work for me. That in itself, right? So building up your body and what that takes for what foods are going to work for you, what kind of diet, what kind of habits and lifestyles. And then of course, yoga, meditation, walking, whatever works for you. We got to do more of that because we need things. Then we'll be ready. Then we'll be more ready for when the time comes. It'll just sneak up on us because we're going to be so inwardly consumed with ourselves and our higher learnings and raising our vibrations, that when it comes, we're just going to be ready. It's just going to be there. We're not going to be sitting waiting for something. I just had a quick question for you, Marie. I think it was you that mentioned the other day in a live video about being O blood type. Was that you? Yeah. Are you like a negative or a positive?
I don't know. I think I'm a positive. I'm pretty sure I'm positive, but yeah.
Okay, just curious. I'm always curious about blood types and things and how it relates. But
I will say that I always use that as an excuse that I needed to eat meat. And I felt almost like victimized by that, like, because I didn't want to, like my soul was always not into it, but I was like, well, it's my family, it's my blood type. And one of my health food practitioners on my journey was saying, you're not going to heal this if you're not eating protein. Like she said that straight up to me. And I was like, really struggling. So when Josh said that you can raise your frequency above your given, like your blood type is a level of frequency, that made perfect sense for me, because I've been saying this entire time that healing this density is about getting every aspect of myself out of it. I have to rise it's a frequency thing. And I knew that in the beginning because I could feel how stress was affecting it and how all of, the energies of fear affected this. So blood type and all of that, it's really powerful to look at it as a frequency. It was for me, and it's made it much more enjoyable to let that go. And it's not hard anymore at all. Like I don't crave it. It kind of like, I'm good. I'm on the other side. Thank God with that. Because it was a harder one. The hardest stuff for me to give up is coffee. That's my last. I can go like 6 or 7 days, and then I'm like, okay, today I just need a little bit, like, because I'm healing so deep that it's like even energetically I go, Ugh. But I'm okay with that. Like it's a journey. It's like you said, like eating food doesn't feel good in my body anymore. It's alarming, but it's like, okay, my kids, and so but that's, Josh says that's part of the practice. Like you're practicing, and I don't want to give myself a harder time than I'm already having right now. But I love it, like the stretches of totally raw, totally juiced. It's beautiful. And it just feels appropriate for the light body and the crystallization too, that process. It's just so fun. But I think that it's an aspect also of the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and the mental. I worked so much on the mental and the spiritual, and I didn't do the physical and the emotional. And now it's like all four. I'm looking for that alignment of really being connected. And yeah, it's a journey. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And for me, we all have our thing that or maybe you don't, but that we're healing. This aspect of self that's been wounded through all of the incarnations we've had. So it's beautiful, it's deep, it's invigorating, it's enlightening for sure. Like, wow, I get to be a choice here. Like I get to do this. I get to have this level of awareness. Awareness, we need the awareness so that we can heal it. And so if we're still reserving or ashamed of some aspect of ourself that we haven't integrated, our deep sensitivity, our inner child wounding, you know, that's what I've been learning how to integrate into myself. Like, you know, you're welcome here. Like, you're safe here. I'm here, you know, I'm here. The divine feminine is here. The divine masculine. I'm here for you. I can hold you. That's been a part of it, because I think we've been so ashamed of our stuff. And shame is a lower frequency, man. Shame and guilt and blame and judgment. And JC talked about that earlier. Like, that's kind of what's been our training. I mean, real quick before I pass it on, like in a yoga training, I remember being like, you know, learning about the yamas and the niyamas, you know, the 8 limbs of yoga. And it was like, you know, one of them is non-judgment, self-love. And I remember saying to the facilitator, wow, I'm from Ohio. Like, we're trained to judge. Like, that's how I grew up. I grew up really thinking that that's what we were doing. So that was a huge practice to learn how to be open-minded. Even though in my inner self, that's what I was. And that's what I am. That's what all of us are. So it really is an uncovering, if that makes any sense. Just letting go of all of those programs and systems that just we inherit. We inherit them from our families of origin and, you know, all of the things. So it's a deep reprogramming, but it's just removing so that we can get to that blank canvas. It's just kind of clearing through all of that, you know, those cobwebs. It's deep. Yeah, beautiful. Anybody? Siobhan, I'm saving you for last, Angel, just so you know. Best for last. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, so one thing that's been kind of coming to me as we've been speaking about all of this, and going back to the driving force behind all of what we do. And a lot of times we try and complicate it and trying to figure out, you know, why am I trying to do something, or why am I being called to a certain way? And I love the passage in the Bible where Jesus talks about you can't serve 2 masters. You can only serve one. If you're not serving one, you're inevitably serving the other. And just breaking that down a bit further and going back, you know, all is one. We start from that single point, that source consciousness. But then we decided, there's no victims. We decided to split. We decided to have this dualistic experience and descend, and have this physical body so that we could realign and ascend back up to our Father. We chose this experience. But knowing that we can't serve 2 masters is really helpful to sort of distinguish and figure out which one we are serving. And it's beautiful in that one master, God, source, can only be truth. There is no other way. God is only truth. God is immovable, irrefutable, is truth. The other master is nothing but deceptions. It will always be deception. It will always be some form of lie, some form of delineation from that truth. And so really having that to sort of validate the deception master, you know, you can call it Satan, Lucifer, the dark force, whatever you ego, that sort of master always has to be validated through some external means. It always has to be validated through something out there. You know, it always has to be validated through something else, something that's not within me. Whereas truth, God, source, is always validated in here. It's always centered. It's always within this temple. And so just having that distinction can really help clarify, you know, where am I being called and who is doing the calling? Is this my egoic construct calling me to do something because I fear some sort of external force, something else that's pulling me in some direction outside of me? Or am I being called to something because of this internal power that we all have within us? So just wanted to, that kept coming up to me on really getting simple with it. And I love that the truth is so simple. And the more that we can get away from this complex, confusing way of trying to break everything down and get back to the simple, very root of everything, it just makes it that much easier. So just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks for listening.
Perfect. It's 100% the truth. It's so simple. And the two masters bit is the truth, because even with cravings, like, that that's serving the other master. And every time I overcome that, it just feels so beautiful, because I'm like, no, I know what you're up to. Like, I'm clear now, the difference between the masters. Whereas before, it's like we just didn't have that clarity. We didn't have that awareness. And that's what we're saying. It's getting easier and easier, because we're becoming cleaner and cleaner and clearer and clearer, so we can see the distinctions and we can choose God's simple truth, rather than, all of the other egoic constructs that always trap us into the wheel of suffering. Beautiful, Justin. I just love you guys. Way to go.
I love you
Andrew,
too.
I love you so much. I just can't wait to meet you guys, really, for real.
I feel the same. I feel the same. Yeah. It's like, hugs everybody. Yeah.
We're going to take dolphin tours and hang out by the pool, which is right over there. And, it's going to be fun. Bring all the babies, because I love the babies. Bring me the babies. Thank you, JC, for blessing us. But I love the babies. Like, oh my God, the most precious creatures. Really is bowing to the children. That's what this is all about. Bowing in gratitude. Beautiful presence.
It really
Andrea, do you want to
is.
say, before we finish with Siobhan, I want her to have a song.
I'm sorry I came in a little bit late, but it's all about doing the inner work and sharing. And I do that all the time. And even like with my daughter, she's 25, and she called me and she's going through some stuff, but she's very like, she was, Mama, I got this. It's like baby steps. And like, yes, baby steps, don't put too much on yourself. Like, yes, the end goal and where you want to be. And yes, I can see myself levitating one day and all of these things. And for another time, I've had dreams and actual awakened visions of all of this. And it's like, all right, not there yet. Let me just take it as it comes. And so, we baby steps on transforming everything. Like you said, with my diet too has made a significant impact on my life and living better, on eliminating stuff. I'm still working on all of that, but it's also so much of crumbling that ego and letting it go and not allowing it to take control, but just taking that breath and realizing, okay, here I am, right here. And it's like, and your mind wants to go, yeah, and now what? And you're like, okay, there is no now what, just be. And you guys all like get that, I think I have friends and family who do on some kind of level, but it's important that we're still there for them. But I just appreciate this community so much, like, and sharing everything you guys share is just I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, it's beautiful. And I'm grateful to be here for, like, even my daughter, like, calling me. And I told her, I said, hey, I got invited to a Zoom meeting. It's going on right now, but I know that this is important, what we talk about. And she knows. She goes, well, can you please tell everybody baby steps and to be okay with themselves, and that you taught me that. It's like, okay, so I'm sharing that with all of you. Yeah, being okay, accepting ourselves every step of the way. There's a reason we're all like coming in together, ushering in that golden age. There was somebody in the chat who was talking about, I came in when she was talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I just had that conversation just like today with my daughter about the shoulda, coulda, woulda and the what ifs. And she's like, well, what if this and shoulda this and coulda that and woulda that and da la la. And I remember when I was in that kind of mode in my early 20s, and my father was somebody I could go to all the time and talk to. So like, most beautiful human being, humble, beautiful human being I've ever been around. But one time he said, well, Andrea, you sure are the what if queen. I said, the what if queen? He goes, you're what if and everything. And what if it doesn't happen? You wasted all your time, like what if and all this stuff. He goes, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I'm like, and sometimes we need people to point it out like that to us, like my father. And I was like, wait a second. Let me sit with that a minute. Oh, yeah, I am doing that. You know, so, and that's our job, is to help people, like, just plant that little seed. They might think we're crazy, but then later they might go, wait a second. It's kind of true. And it brings them back, you know, and all we can do is pass on information. Those people who want to hear it and take it on for themselves and their journey, fine. I don't take on everybody else's stuff. I think I just go within and I figure it out along the way. So my journey is not necessarily everybody's journeys. It's all different, you know. But yeah, like you were saying earlier, we don't all have to be like this beautiful singer like Siobhan and a healer and all these things. Like just being that space and that love and that compassion, that understanding, and you know, just it comes. It'll come. I have had some healing experiences too, where I have helped heal some people too. And here's the thing, I get, you know, people, I don't share this because it's only my very, very close people that they're like, well, will you do a healing on me? They have to be open to it, right? I've heard you talk about doing a healing on yourself and with other people a few times, like, and I'm like, okay, but I was a little hesitant too, but then I'm like, why am I hesitant? You know, to do all that. And then I've had people say, well, have you had any formal training? And I'm like, formal training? Like, no, I'm not going to school for this. I'm going within for this. Like, to me, that's right. I'm going within for this. You know, like that's my schooling. I think that's where we think that everybody else knows it all. We know it all right here. We've already been given all of that, and to really listen to that. And I think all of you resonate with that right now. And I've shared this with a very few little people, but you know, I'm apparently God is saying, all right, you're sharing this with more people, because there's a lot of us who we need to know we all feel this way. And there's more of us out there.
Beautiful. Yeah, just like Colleen says, it's our turn. It's our turn to shine. So get out
there. It is. Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of like the fact, like, I, you know, with the whole, like when we did the fireside chat and I didn't look at all the comments because it was just a lot of stuff. I just wanted to be where I was. But the next day I was looking back on some of the live chat and somebody said, I don't know who, but like, oh, well, you know, basically that was a bore for 30 minutes while we're trying to figure out technical difficulties. But here's the thing too, what I like is that people are like, well, we're all trying to figure this out together. And I think it's great that we're not coming in. We're coming in like real people. Like, I need help with this. We all are like trying to figure it out together. Being patient with each other and loving is key, you know. Yeah, I don't have a big fancy microphone. And like, even my daughter said, Mom, if you're doing all this, I'm pretty good with lighting and things. And I go, yeah, I'm not so sure, you know, about like, I'm just up against the wall and like, here I am. You know, I'm not thinking about any of that because I'm just thinking about connecting with everybody. So anyway, yeah.
For sharing that. You know, it's like you said so much there, but the one thing I want to say before Siobhan sings is that we're doing something, you know, and it's coming from the heart space. And so there's something so pure and beautiful about that. And anyone who wants to critique that, that's on them. You know, it's like, I always find the people that want to complain the most are the ones that just aren't really doing it. So do it yourself, you know, go out there
Right.
and you do it. You try and figure out a live YouTube. It's a little tricky, you know, and it's and we're just real people. We're real brothers and sisters. That's it. We're just trying to connect with each other, and it's beautiful. And thank you for that. All right,
I
Siobhan, come
agree.
sing us a song. Come sing us a
Yeah.
song. We love you.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey,
Okay.
Siobhan, love you.
Love
I have to go
you.
close. I'm only on my phone now here, so I don't know what I'm going to sound like. But I'm half asleep. I just wanted to sleep again. And so I was lying down listening to you, and it was just so soothing and so lovely. And every time I'd perk up, I'd go, "Who's that person talking? Oh, I like her. Oh, I like her." You know, it was really lovely. And talking about patience, I'm 30 years trying to find my audience, and now look, I found you. So it's really amazing. And I decided I'm going to do a song that I wrote called Love is the Holy Grail. It might sound negative, but it's actually not. For me, it was a very, very low time, and I had been betrayed, and I had been, so when I was waiting for my artist visa to work in the States as an artist, I took a job on a cruise ship, and it was in Alaska for 6 months. And so we left from Seattle every Sunday, and we'd come back every Sunday, and we'd go up along the coast to Juneau, Ketchikan, and Skagway. And I fell in love with the humpback whales, and it was just stunning, absolutely stunning. And I wrote this song when I came back from it here in Virginia, actually, in this house that I'm in right now. And it was just so low. I was so low. And the first line is, "I looked for love in every face. I found it in a man so," and I wanted to say, so horrible, so disgusting, so fucking utterly vile. And I said, I can't do that. I need to change this around. I have to turn this around. So I said kind. And then I went from there. And so it's basically about, you know, you might not have the love of your life or your twin flame or whatever, but that we can see love all around us and in God's creations everywhere. And yeah, so that's kind of it. So I think I'm going to do that one. And let me know if you can't hear properly.
Okay.
I'm going to pull this in a small bit. Oh. Can you hear me? I looked for love in every face, found it in a man so kind. I looked for love as a constant star, I found it in the opening bar. I looked for love across the ocean, I found that it's not meant to be. I looked for love in a harvest moon, I found that it was gone too soon. I heard of love in a lonely girl. She felt her life, her world unfurl. I heard love in a baby's cry, from birth to 10 to a teenage sigh. I heard my love and ambitious boy was not afraid of the right. His dreams are not pie in the sky. A long, long road of lows and highs. I know there is divine beauty that cuts through all the pain and grief. Love for me is beyond the pale. For me it is the Holy Grail. I saw love in a falling leaf, whisked away the sense of defeat. I saw love in a dying mind that glimpsed the tragedy so fine. I saw love in a fighting pair. They were always there to care. I saw love in a humpback whale. Her calf, her breech, strength, her tail. I know there is divine beauty that cuts through all the pain and grief. Love for me is beyond the pale. For me it is the Holy Grail. For me it is the Holy Grail. For me it is the Holy Grail. For me it is the Holy Grail.
Woo!
Thank you.
Every time, Siobhan.
The Holy Grail. Justin always cries. We love it.
Just a
Thank
mess.
you. Thank you. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, no, that's good. It's a very, very dear song to me. And I kind of, on all the other shows we've been doing with Charlie and stuff, I'm like, I think this is too negative or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. I think it was such a huge crossroads for me to turn it all, to flip it all around from dark to light, and anyway, and that song, actually, the lyrics were an honorable mention on American Songwriter magazine last year, so, which is really strange because they're all leftist and in the cabal. I don't say they're in the cabal, but you know what I mean. They're just all maybe because it was negative. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, that's why I think I've never been able to get ahead in the music business, because I just wasn't on the same wavelength, I suppose. But yeah, so great to be here today. Yeah, thank you, Marie.
For what? Thank you. I Zoom call. I was like, hey guys, anybody want to hang out and chat a little bit?
I have to say that I'm hoping and praying that Siobhan comes where I live, because I live in a really, really small community in the mountains. It is beautiful here. Like everywhere I look, all I see is mountains and trees. My sister holds an annual music festival here. And
yes, I applied for it, Lonnie, remember?
I know, yeah. Yes, I know you did. I'm just putting out those good thoughts, and I'm going to have a little talk with my sister. To bring you, it's a magical music festival, you guys.
Oh, wow.
You guys want to come and have an excuse to come to Canada. It's a magical little spot we're in.
Maybe we can get all the Freak family to come up there if I end up playing. So that'd be cool.
That would be really nice. You wouldn't regret it. Anybody who steps foot in this this valley leaves
Oh wow.
A different person.
Like a unicorn.
Like a unicorn. That's why we moved here. That's why I wanted to raise my kids here, because it's a beautiful.
That's amazing, Lonnie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
When is
I'm longing for hi Danny. I'm longing for all of that. Just so longing. My soul is longing for your peace.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that just came out. It was from my childhood. My mother was my mother is a singer. I'm from 4 generations of musicians, and my great grandmother did yoga up till she was like nearly 70 apparently, and she started a traveling opera company. Holy shit. Like, I mean, I'm like, oh, that must be where I get my strength from. You know what I mean? I remember her too. She died at 96, but you know, what was I going to say? I don't know. I've always wanted to build a log cabin in the mountains, and I feel like it's getting nearer and nearer.
Once you
So,
come here,
yeah.
you won't want to leave when you come here. This is where you're going to want to build a log cabin.
I've often wondered, you know, because I've been in a lot of places, but none of them have made me want to stay. And so I've often wondered, I wonder, will a place make me stay, you know? And does it really matter where you are? But I think it really does. I think it does. I mean, I'm a nomad. I'd love to go around and, you know, I would love to travel to anybody in this whole freak family that wants me to play. When I get my RV, I'm on the road, and that's what I'm doing. We're just going to coordinate, and I'll make a map of, you know, where anybody wants me to play. And I'm just going to stop there and stop along the way. And I really am going to do that.
I'm going to caravan. I'll caravan. I'll be your #1 groupie.
Yay. Oh, and the other thing is, Justin, you probably know about this. Do you remember Bob Dylan did the Rolling Thunder review? That's what I want to do. I want like a caravan of us, like freak gypsies just on the road.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I love it. I just want to do it so bad.
I love
And
it.
like a whole family, the kids, everything, you know. I mean, everything is going to change. No, we're not going to be stopped on the road by cops by going, what are you doing now? You're not allowed to do that now because there's all these rules. This is the thing that drove me nuts when I came here first, was like, you can't cross the road without the fucking thing telling you that you're allowed to cross. I mean, that just drove me nuts. And, you know, I mean, all of those things, all those, everything will be deregulated, everything will be softened and pulled back. So we're, you know, us traveling across the country in a convoy of tour buses is going to be fine. You know what I mean? It's going to be fine.
One whole bus would have to be full of just oranges and pineapples.
I know. I was talking to somebody today, and she says, I have to go and buy a whole load of oranges. And I went, geez, they'll be sold out of oranges because of Colleen. It's so funny. I've healed my stomach.
Angel.
I know. I've healed my stomach. I had indigestion since I was 14. It was obviously emotional, but I'm the eldest of 6, and I had a lot, I think, to deal with or whatever, you know. And I was trying to be a swimming champion. I was my father played rugby for Ireland, and he was 30 by the time he was picked to play for the Irish rugby team, because it was all political. It was only the Dublin teams were being picked, and he was from Limerick, and eventually he played, and but so he's been involved with team sports, and he was the manager of the Irish rugby team for his last job before he retired. And so, and I'm the eldest, so me and him are very close, and like, he's put me into a swimming training at like 8.
Oh, I think we might have lost her.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but great ideas. I mean, that traveling tour will be so amazing, and at that point in time, we won't have to worry about packing fruit, because hopefully the entire world will be growing fruit trees, and they won't even know what to do with it all. It'll just be abundantly available for us to pick as we go.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Am I there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. So anyway, like at 8 years of age, I was like training swimming, and you know, I was a Munster champion then at 11, you know, so it's like, and he used to be saying to me, you got to grasp the nettle and he'd say, you got to get over the pain barrier. And I was like, I'm 10. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just, I don't know, I suppose all of that shaped me, you know, and I've come from a very strong background, I'm trying to say, I think. And I don't know, is there another Siobhan on this call? Is she gone?
There was.
Oh,
There was. She's a yoga student from originally from Dublin, but she's here in Mexico with us now. She came. This was her second trip down here. She was here in November, and she just stayed.
Oh wow!
So,
and
yeah,
she has the father on her A as well. She has the proper Irish spelling, like.
Yeah,
So
she's for real. She's a beauty.
That's
she's
funny.
legit.
That's
she's a
great.
legit,
That's
beautiful
great.
Irish. I'll make sure that I hook you guys up.
Do yeah, and I'd love to hook up with the other people on the call today as well. But so yeah, all the bombs are dropping today, and here we are talking about unicorns. It's so great.
But you know, that's our inheritance. That's our gift. We already know it's all done and dusted. Just watching it all play out. So much gratitude that we get to be on the side of it and keep breathing and being together. I love you guys so much. Siobhan, it's such a privilege to be with you. Let's talk about what's coming up. So if we want to do this again, Justin, so tomorrow Charlie has a show in the evening with Davina, and he's breaking down the 107 movie. I know Lonnie and I, we've been chatting about it. Wow. Like Danny and I stayed up after the Galactic Greg campfire until 2 a.m. watching it. I was just like crying. I loved it.
I know. I'm going to watch it again now too.
Yeah, I want to watch it again. So
is this new?
Tonight.
Like, I don't know. I haven't seen where to get the movie, or maybe I've seen it. I've seen several things for 107.
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the Makings of a
107.
Perfect Day, I believe is the title of it.
Called The Called, or is it called The Called?
Oh.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
also
we're the called. We're the called. Like, you know what I mean? We are the called now.
We really are. I actually had a friend of mine who yesterday we were talking, and oh wow, we had some just beautiful exchanges of love, and I was telling her about how I've met all these goodly godly people and how we all resonate together and the things I say, and she was like, she said that, she goes, you have found your calling now. Your calling card has been given to you. And she said, I'm still waiting for mine. She's a little late, but anyway, the fact that she said that, I was like, wow, I have been given my calling card. I have felt a little overwhelmed. I've always known this is what, I'm going to do. But yet I'm just like going with the flow. Like you said, it's our calling, yeah.
So
and thank you for letting me share.
That's
with all
confirmation,
of you.
Andrea.
Yeah.
It's confirmation from your friend for you. And we all need reminders all the time.
And we do need that. And we do need that confirmation we're on the right path. And it helps us. Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are. I mean, I keep thinking, even in my darkest moments, I go, all of these beautiful people, like, they can't all be crazy. Like, you're all beautiful.
Exactly.
So like, you keep me going. You keep me like, well, these are beautiful humans. These are beautiful people. This is mankind. This is what we're up to. Look at Lonnie with her children. I mean, look at 3C with his babes. I mean, look at Jess with your writing, and Andrea with your daughter. That story was so beautiful. And Justin just keeping us together, like going to DC. Hi, look at this lady. Hi, friend. Wow. Wow. How old are you?
Hi, I'm 7.
You're 7. My daughter's going to be 7 in March. Her name's Ruby.
My name's Logan.
Oh, of course it is.
Logan. That's so cool. We help
Hi, Logan.
Girls the same age. That's awesome.
Yay. Yay. Yeah. Look at these angels. Wow, you guys. Look at the kitty friend too. We love kitty friends.
Baby.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Oh, that's a big kitty.
That's a serious cat. Yeah. That's like a full-on creature.
creature.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, and then so that's Tuesday, and then Wednesday I have something at nighttime with my Australian yoga women that we're going to do live, and Madonna English and Carrie Ann Fields and Denby Jane, which is going to be a beautiful conversation. Anyone is welcome. I'm going to be hosting that one. I've been on their channel the last few times, and these guys are powerhouses. They're going through so much in Australia.
Yeah, they did.
Wow. Really, really
and Marie,
powerful.
that's if we have like signal or whatever. Hopefully we'll go to Starlink and we'll all have way faster bloody Wi-Fi too.
Particularly for our brother Charlie.
Yes.
That's really important. He's just got it. We got to get this going.
Yeah.
Danny's trying to do stuff too with them, but Mexico is, we're really lucky, but we have like 3 different internet things happening right now just to make sure that we can stay on.
Oh my God.
And then Thursday, I think we're going to do another one like this in the night. So if anybody wants to come, Charlie and Colleen will be there here on our channel. And then Friday, I don't know what's happening, but we'll just keep it going and we'll see how this thing all plays out with it all. But I just want to thank you all for being here. And anything else anybody wants to share before we finish it up? My kids are going to come screaming in here any moment.
Okay.
Anybody else want to share any final words? Danny seems to.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say thanks to everybody joining in and just holding the energy together. And for me today, it's a very suiting subject, this quality of patience, because I get exasperated at times, and I think it's just winding in the loving energy that we are all harnessing, despite the a lot of distractions that might appear, but also particularly just disengaging from the old patterns, they still have like long tentacles, like this thing, like anyway, it's breaking apart. But I mean, for me personally, that's one of the things, and patience is really linked to trust. In my case, a lot of it, inherent trust, and Andrea was talking about like the what if syndrome, that we can delve into with our very analytical minds when we get very busy. And trust is a big one here. It's really a big one. And it all delves down to the frequency of love and trusting that, and trusting the unknown can be hard when we want to have the answers right now. But the unknown is really the creative playground too, where all possibilities can unfold. Where Lonnie goes, "Hey, my sister's got a festival here," and then we go, "Well, let's do like a tour, and we'll get together and grow fruit trees." And that's really the trusting the frequency of love, because otherwise it's like, well, I mean, the other side of it, and that's what we all are done with in one form or another, whether it's by protest, whether it's by dis-ease, whether it's by kind of bang against the same wall. And here it's where we are in this kind of space. So patience, and just reside in love, patience with those who might have parted ways because of where we've been, patience to the loved ones that are going through their own journey, which is parallel but not necessarily on the same timeline as one personally is, and patience to those who are in a place of anger too, and also but also fear. So we just keep radiating that energy of love, and techniques like the incredible, beautiful meditation that Marie put forth. And by now that we all have, in some form or another, the meditation can be just taking a 5-minute walk outside on our own, leaving the phone aside, leaving everybody, kids, partners, whatever that might be, and listen to the stillness. Really harness the stillness and be grateful for that. And if I'm used to having like my yoga practice, my juices, my this and that, and for whatever reason the plan falls apart on that day, there's not the end of it, but it's like, I can just sit and count to 10 and take conscious breaths, let it out and continue. So that's beautiful. It's my little 2 cents. And thanks again, guys. And we're walking out into where we're going to, so it's all good. It's all good. And thanks for everybody chiming in from Australia, the UK, from Germany, from the United States, from wherever you might be, this is a, one love. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I did leave the link for that music festival in the chat over there if you wanted to take a look, okay?
Beautiful.
We do.
Beautiful.
I'm just going to copy it real quick before I close this. I love you guys, and we'll see you, see you around. See you around. See how it all plays out. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love
for
y'all so much.
Hey guys.
holding space for me and everyone.
You win the award 3C for the Juice Master today, man. That was incredible. That was like
Serious
salad.
juice.
Oh man, come make me some.
You are the Juice Master, bro. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we know all about that. We did watermelon today.
Nice.
All right.
Very good.
The last of it.
Yeah.
Guys.